Tajikistan, a land of towering mountains, ancient traditions, and deep resilience. Tucked away in the heart of Central Asia, bordered by Afghanistan, China, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan, it's often overlooked on the global stage. Yet this small, mountainous country holds a unique place in the story of the region, offering breathtaking landscapes and a cultural heritage that goes back thousands of years. With more than 90% of its land covered in mountains, Tajikistan is one of the most rugged and stunning countries on Earth. The Pamir Mountains, often referred to as the roof of the world, dominate the landscape in the east. These peaks are not only geographically significant, but also historically important. For centuries, they served as a crossroads for travelers, traders, and empires. The Silk Road wound through these valleys, bringing with it goods, beliefs, and cultures from China to the Mediterranean. The natural beauty of Tajikistan is unparalleled. From the crystal-clear waters of Iskanderkul Lake to the deep valleys carved by ancient glaciers, it is a paradise for nature lovers and adventurers. Yet, life in this landscape is not easy. The mountainous terrain limits agriculture and development, making daily life in rural areas especially challenging. Tajikistan's history stretches back to ancient times. It was once part of the Achaemenid Empire and later the Greco-Bactrian kingdom after the campaigns of Alexander the Great. The region played a central role in the development of Persian culture and identity. During the 9th and 10th centuries, it was the heart of the Samanid Empire, which promoted the Persian language and Islamic scholarship. The city of Bukhara, although now part of Uzbekistan, was a key cultural center for Tajiks and remains symbolic of their rich heritage. As centuries passed, the region came under the rule of various empires, the Mongols, the Timurids, and eventually the Russian Empire in the 19th century. Following the Bolshevik Revolution, Tajikistan was incorporated into the Soviet Union in 1929 as the Tajik Soviet Socialist Republic. Under Soviet rule, the country experienced industrialization, literacy campaigns, and political suppression. The Persian script was replaced by Cyrillic, and traditional customs were discouraged in favor of a Soviet identity. In 1991, Tajikistan declared independence after the collapse of the USSR. However, independence came at a cost. The country descended into a brutal civil war from 1992 to 1997, resulting in tens of thousands of deaths and widespread displacement. The war was fought between various political factions, including Islamists, Democrats, and former communists, reflecting both ideological and regional tensions. Since the end of the civil war, Tajikistan has focused on rebuilding. Emomali Rahmon, who came to power during the conflict, has remained president ever since. While the country has achieved a degree of stability, it faces criticism for human rights abuses, media censorship, and lack of political freedom. Despite these challenges, the people of Tajikistan continue to move forward, drawing strength from their history and community bonds. Tajikistan is home to about 10 million people, most of whom are ethnic Tajiks, who speak a dialect of Persian known as Tajiki. Other ethnic groups include Uzbeks, Russians, Kyrgyz, and small numbers of Pamiri peoples who speak distinct Eastern Iranian languages. The Tajik identity is deeply tied to language, poetry, hospitality, and a shared cultural memory rooted in the Persianate world. One of the most revered figures in Tajik culture is the poet Rudaki, considered the father of Persian poetry. His legacy is celebrated across the country, and his verses reflect the enduring spirit of the Tajik people. Poetry remains a cornerstone of cultural life, with both classical and contemporary forms widely appreciated. Islam plays an important role in daily life. The majority of Tajiks are Sunni Muslims, with a significant minority of Ismaili Shia Muslims, especially in the Gorno-Badakhshan Autonomous Region, GBAO. Religious practices, however, are carefully monitored by the government. Mosques and religious education are regulated, and outward expressions of faith are sometimes discouraged in urban areas. Economically, Tajikistan faces many hurdles. It is one of the poorest countries in Central Asia. Much of the economy depends on remittances sent by Tajik workers abroad, especially in Russia. Agriculture remains a key sector, but much of the land is mountainous or arid. Cotton is a major crop, although it consumes large amounts of water. Hydroelectric power is one of Tajikistan's greatest natural resources. The country has an abundance of rivers, and the government has invested heavily in dam projects. The Rogan Dam, for example, aims to become the tallest dam in the world and a major source of electricity for both domestic use and export.
Also called as the
Tourism is a growing industry,
most famous
particularly among adventure tea.
Major events, that is marriages
Travelers.
and functions.
The Pamir Highway,
And this is
one
near
of the
to
highest
Paradise,
and most
just
remote
beside
roads
the
in the
polo
world,
grounds.
attracts bikers
Clouds
and
behind the
hikers
palace are
looking
looking
to experience the
simply
raw
fantastic
beauty
and
of the
awesome.
region. Efforts are being made
Thank
to
you for
promote
watching.
ecotourism and cultural
Jai.
tourism, but infrastructure remains underdeveloped. Education and healthcare systems have improved since the 1990s, but many rural areas still lack access to basic services. NGOs and international aid agencies continue to play a critical role in supporting development. Literacy rates are relatively high, a legacy of the Soviet education system. But there's a growing need for updated curriculum and modern teaching resources. Tajikistan also faces environmental challenges. Deforestation, soil erosion, and water management are ongoing issues. Climate change has made weather patterns more unpredictable, affecting agriculture and access to water. Glaciers in the Pamirs, which feed major rivers like the Darya, are melting at an alarming rate. This poses long-term risks not just for Tajikistan, but for the entire Central Asia region. Culturally, Tajikistan is rich and diverse. Traditional music, dance, clothing, and festivals are an important parts of it. Nowruz, the Persian New Year celebrated in spring, is one of the most significant holidays. Families gather to share meals, perform dances, and honor ancient customs. Weddings are also major cultural events, often lasting several days and involving elaborate rituals. Food is central to Tajik hospitality. Meals often begin with naan, a round flatbread, and include dishes like plov, rice pilaf with meat and vegetables, shurbo, a hearty meat soup, and sambusa, savory pastries. Green tea is served with nearly every meal, symbolizing warmth and welcome. Modern Tajik youth are increasingly connected to the world through the internet and social media. Many are passionate about preserving their cultural heritage while embracing new ideas. They face the challenges of unemployment, migration, and limited opportunities, yet they remain hopeful and creative. To understand Tajikistan is to appreciate its resilience. It's a country that has endured colonization, civil war, poverty, and political repression, yet continues to stand strong. Its people take pride in their language, their poets, their mountains, and their endurance. You can help others understand Tajikistan better by sharing its stories. Watch Tajik films and documentaries, read their literature, follow Tajik creators on social media, learn about their history and their current challenges, support educational and cultural programs that give voice to local communities. When we look at countries like Tajikistan beyond the surface, we find more than just borders and headlines. We find humanity, heritage, and hope. Tajikistan deserves to be known not only for its struggles, but for its strength, spirit, and stunning beauty. This is Tajikistan, rugged, poetic, proud, and enduring.